Okay, it's a very, very long share, really, to explain the whole reason and explaining exactly what happened to the daughters of Lot with their father, going through all the Gemaras, the Midrashim, the Zohar, the Kabbalah, and have a full understanding of what happened and what was the cheshbon behind it, and how come the Mashiach can come from such seemingly a dirty act. Why would he have to come that way? And so forth, and explaining and understanding, the whole thing. But obviously, we're limited in time. I'm going to try to not go too much into details and try to explain at least half of it. And Shabbos, those who come to Shabbos shir will understand, B'ez Hashem, the rest of it. So in the meantime, let's go into the psukim and understand what's happening. We have the two daughters of Lot. The Torah is going to use a language that we never see. I mean, we see it now, we'll never see it again. The oldest told the youngest, and we're going to name them all the time like this. Bechira Tzeira. Not going to mention them by name, but we're going to mention them by just age. The oldest, the youngest. And just why the Torah is calling them like this is a share on its own. So they say, Avinu Zaken, our father is old. Okay, yes, he had two daughters married already there, so even if he had his daughters when he was in the 30s, he's in his 50s. Avinu Zaken, at that time they used to live like Avraham Avinu, 175. Okay, they call him Avinu Zaken. So the oldest is talking to the youngest. She tells him, our father is old. Ve'ish en ba'aretz. And there's no man left on earth. Because they thought it was like the Mabul, and there was a total destruction. Lavoy aleinu, to marry us. I mean, I'm going to kederech kalares, as is it's the usual way on earth. I cut off just a couple of sukkim beforehand, but just to go into the shir, and I'm going to try to focus on that part. So why does she have to give her sister two reasons? Avinu Zaken and Ish ben and Baret. Either one of the reasons was valid enough to explain her the situation that they're alone and there's no more men and the two women alone left on earth. We'll have to try to understand that. So she says, Lecha nashke savinu yain. Let's go and give to our father wine. Why? When they left Sodom, Midrash says they left with nothing. The Midrash forgot to say that they left with jars of wine. Lot goes with the Malachim. He says, just take your two daughters. He took only his two daughters and his wife with him. And his wife turned around and became a statue of salt. Because when the Mashchis, we learned this already, which Parsha? In Parshas Noach. When the Mashchis is in town, you don't show your face, because on the face it says the sins of a person, and you have to hide. So they were not allowed to look into it, so their face. So the fact that they were going with Malachim, it was protecting them, that they would not be hit from the back, but it would not protect them if they would turn around and look at the destruction, because they deserve to be also destroyed. Only by the schools, Rashi says, but from the Midrash only because of the schus of Avraham, and this also will try to explain. Only by the schus of Avraham they were saved. Great. Now he has his two daughters, and his two daughters says, you know something? We're gonna give him wine, and we're gonna sleep with him, and like this we're gonna have, you know, continuation. We're gonna have children. These two daughters were not married. These two daughters, you're going to see how the Gemaras, the Midrash is going to talk about them. They were perfect. You see it from the story on in Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer. He brings down, I'll come back right here to the Psukim. I just want to give you a synopsis, you know, of the situation so you understand who we're dealing with. There was this poor man who was dying on the street, and in Sodom, if you fed a poor man, it was death. So there was this girl. Yaakov Shimoni talks like this. There was this girl. In truth, she had a name. Her name was Ploitis. And Ploitis happened to be the daughter of Lot. She couldn't take seeing that person like this in the street. So she started feeding him, hiding, doesn't matter the details, how she, you know, she gave him food, but she was hiding every night. She was coming out. So the people of Sodom could not understand. This guy is still alive in the morning. And they thought, you know, he has no more food. He's going to die. This is the level of Achzarius they had. It's unbelievable. They enjoyed the suffering of other people. Like exactly who? Like these Arabs today. You know, a Jew would not even, at the worst of our time, we would not even dare take a child, a woman, or whatever, because someone else did that. So because they're Arabs just like them, we're going to make them suffer. Who gives us a right to do that? We'll never do that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will never forgive a person to do such a thing. So we would not do that. But then they enjoyed the pain and the suffering of others. So they investigated, and they saw, and they found out that it was the daughter of Lot. Lot was an important person. He was very rich. He could not save his daughter. How did they, what was the din? Well, what was the decree? The decree was that they're going to attach her on the roof, and they're going to pour honey on her, and with the stings of the bees, she's going to die slowly. And she yelled, and she said, my yelling, because out of pain, should go up to Shamayim and should be a prosecution against the people of Sodom. So Hashem says, that's why it says in feminine. It's like her screams that I've heard that they have done, these seal them. Cruelty seals the fate of a person. And we know what happened afterward. I mean, there's countless stories in the Midrash about this. Just to understand the Sodom, Eliezer came, Avraham sent him to see the well-being of Lot. Somehow he got into a dispute with someone. He beat him, and Eliezer was bleeding from the face. So the other guy says, now you owe me money because you made me bleed. The guy said, you're crazy. You owe me money. So he says, let's go to the judges. The judges says you owe him 2 gold coins because now you're healthier because, you know, you've been letting out blood. Eliezer said, this is how you deal in this town. He went to the judge. He punched his face, made him bleed. Says, now the money you owe me, give it to him. I mean, just the insanity of Sodom, we would not have enough with 2 shiurim just on this. So let's go back to our psukim now that we understand. So we see the daughters of Lot were tzaddikas. sorry, it's not the correct one. They were, and these two daughters had never seen. They were still besulos. They were still virgins. And it's then very hard to understand what went through their minds in order to want to do something like this. You've been withstanding all the temptation of Sodom. You coming into a situation because you don't have the answer, automatically you want to make your answer. This doesn't suit a tzaddik. A tzaddik believes in God. He waits for God to give a sign, like Noach. He didn't go out of the teva before HaKadosh Baruch Hu allowed him to get out. Anyway, so we also have to understand, where the wine came from. But the story is, they gave their father wine. Look at this. In here it says, the changes of languages between the psukim is phenomenal. And I'll forgo the mistakes in, quote unquote, of grammar, because otherwise we'll be here. Just in the question. Balayla hu, and balayla hahu. What is the pasuk telling us with this? Vatavoy ha-bechira, the oldest came, Batishka besaviha, she slept with her father, velo yada beshichva uvkuma. You see, uvkuma, so he didn't know when she came to sleep and when she got up. Uvkuma is written with a vav here. By the youngest, uvkuma, the vav is gone. And we're going to see different the oldest, he says, Batishkav es aviha. She slept with her father. On the Tzeira, it says she slept with him. Okay, so the second night also, they did the same thing, and then the youngest slept with him, and so forth. And then the pasuk, the pasha here ends up telling us, but hareina shtei benois loy. Now we don't call them benoisav anymore. Oh, I don't have the psukim where it says in the same pasuk benoisav twice. Shtei benois loy. In the whole pasha, they called the two daughters of Lot. Shtei benoisav. And here he called them, and everywhere it's without a vav. But now that they got pregnant from their father, it's they have a vav. Should have had a vav when they're tzaddikas and not have a vav now, but it's just the opposite. What are you telling me here? From their father? Do we know the whole story? Just said, just the pasuk before. Vatashkeina gam vatishkav imoy. Hem shachafti emesh esavi. I slept the night before with my father. So let's try to have an understanding first of who is Lot and what was in his mind. Because when the Malachim took him, there was this city, this village called Soyar. And it was supposed to be destroyed. And the Malachim told him, we won't destroy it because of you. So he had the word of the Malachim that he will be safe there. Though he gets scared. And he goes, Ba Me'ara, in the Me'ara, in the cave. Look. There's a lot of pointers here. What would you be scared? The Malachim told you nothing will happen. Why would you go into a cave? You go into a cave, you drink wine at night, you're with your daughters, and you see that something is cooking. So before you got totally shikar, which we understand, man, you had your mind, They thought there was no human remaining in the world, which makes no sense. Because if they were saved because of Avraham, then Avraham was alive. Avraham cannot save them and not be saved. That wouldn't make any sense. This whole parsha makes zero sense. Whatever touch we're getting in every side, on Lot or on his daughter, does not make sense. I mean, yes, I could become gullible and say, okay, you thought that there was no one else, and therefore you allowed yourself this. On the other hand, you were saved because of Avraham, and you should have known that at least Avraham is here. So let's go and define. The truth is, first, the first fundamental point is, who is this Lot? And what's the whole thing behind it, with the first level state mind of his daughters. If I have time, I'll dig out more about the daughters, because it's amazing what they have done. The Midrash Tanchuma starts the parsha by telling us that Lot was an interesting person. Usually a father, if people come and want to take away the daughters, the father is very close to his daughters, a mother to her boys. And if someone wants to come and remove, daughters from the arms of the father, he would give his life for them. However, Lot is a very interesting character. He says, you know what? When they asked for the Malachim, and they decided, you know what? We're going to punish them, and we're going to rape them. That's the right term. He told them, hey, my brothers, don't sin. I'll give you my daughters instead. Are you normal? Don't sin. I'll give you my daughters. That's not a sin, right? And which father would give away his daughters like this? So the Midrash concludes that Lot was one of them, and was as dirty of them. And for him, that's no big deal. It's fine. And therefore, in Midah can I get Midah, measure against measure. He is the one who had to sleep with his daughters. I mean, Rav Tanchuma, one of the huge Tanaim of the Midrash, interesting, but I just don't understand. The Pasuk tells us, when Avraham told Lot, let's separate, please leave me. He told him, if you go to the right, I'll go to the left. If you go to the left, I'll go to the right. Lot looked around, and he saw that there was a fat land with lush vegetation. What was the reason he was living? Because he had a lot of animals, and they couldn't stay. The place where they used to live with Avraham, because Avraham had a lot also, it could not support both of them. So he decided to go there. That's the reason. Is there a mitzvah to bury Lot? No. So why here everyone seems to take a stone, first stone he sees, and just lapidate him? That's what it seems. Even Rashi said, when he saw, it says in the pasuk, Vayisalat eseinav, he raised his eyes, Vayar kol kikar hayad, and he saw the plain around the Jordan River, that it was green, that it was lush and everything. He says, Eretz nachalei mayim. It's a land with rivers. When you have rivers, you have growth. You have grass, you have everything growing. He has animals. That's exactly what he needs. That's the reason he went there. What mitzvah is there to put nasty intentions that he knew about Anshes Doim, and he wanted to join them because inside him, that's what he was looking for. That's very harsh. The Gemara says in Heroes, very fundamental Gemara. This Gemara is in Nazir also, exact almost language. The Gemara is going to start opening our eyes, and we're going to start having a foundation. The Gemara brings a pasuk in Hosea, Ki Yesharim Darkei Hashem. If I brought it, so you can follow inside. You see, it says, Vayisaloit Eseinav, Loit raised his eyes, Vayes Kol Kikayad, and he saw the plain of the Yarden. Kichulo Mashke. And Rashi says, Eretz Nachale Maimit. So I have animals. I'm going in a place. I'm not going to go into Midbar Yehuda. I'm not going to go into a desert when I'm not going to find, grass or anything for my animals. This is the pasuk in Yeshaya, the Gemara says, and this is going to be a foundation in the whole. Basically, our fushim based on this. Ki Yesharim Darkei Hashem. The laws and the ways of Hashem are just. Yesharim means straight, means just. V'tzadikim yelchubam. Only tzadikim can walk down this path. Upoishim, but people, sinners, yikashlubam, they will stumble in there. Says the Gemara. You know who is v'tzadikim yelchubam? It's the daughters of Lot. Because what they have done, it was all Leshem Shamayim. Who is Upoishim Yikashlubam? It's Lot, because he had bad intentions. From the beginning, the Gemara tells us he was kind of a good term for this. He was, I don't want to say the wrong words, but he had a taiva, put it that way, for his daughters. So from the beginning, he had bad intentions. And that's what the Gemara says. It's very hard. This is a very harsh statement. But the Gemara is going to give 3 proofs to that. And the Gemara is going to tell us, when it says Vayisaloit, he raised his eyes, we see somewhere else the explanation of that word. What do you mean he raised his eyes? Vatisa Eshes Adoinov, when the wife of Potiphar raised her eyes to Yosef. So he raised his eyes the same way. Really? Don't we have also Vayisa Avraham es Einav Vayar es Hamake Merachek, just at the end of the same parasha, when instead of bringing me a proof from parashas Miketz, not Miketz, Vayishlach Vayigash, no, right before Vayigash, Miketz, at the end of Vayishlach. So why do you bring me a proof from that? You have a proof in this parasha. Avram raised his eyes and he saw the place, Hara Moriah, from afar. So raising the eyes don't mean always to the bad. You raise your eyes to see where you're going, to see if you're in the right direction. So why Gemara? You see now the Midrash and the Gemara also try to bury Lot. But the Gemara is not done. Brings a second proof. It says, we saw he raised his eyes and he saw the plain of the Jordan Kikar Hayarden. And the Gemara wants to bring a pasuk in Mishlei that Shlomo HaMelech says a person who starts with harlots, he's going to end up penniless. He won't even have money to buy bread. Because when a person is after this kind of sins, he will put all his money without even thinking, you know, he will lose his mind. So it says the kikar lechem. If you look at the pasuk here, ki be'ad isha zoina, for a prostitute, ad kikar lechem means the one who goes for prostitutes, he will lose even kikar lechem. Oh, because it says kikar here, and we have here kikar hayarden. The Gemara says, you know, kikar. That's the only kikar in the Torah. And here kikar is written with a U. This one is not written with a U. What do you compare that? We'll see. It's a very, very interesting. But we have to have this introduction to understand, because now we're going to come trying to understand Avraham behind it, you know, what he did. The third proof, I don't need that in this year right now. So we see that Lot, according to this Gemara, was already rotten from the inside, and he had these tivus for the actions he wanted to resemble. He wanted to be able to go to a place where he's free to do what he wants. In that case, when Avraham left Haran, he took his wife and he took Lot. Why did he take Lot? If you knew Lot was no good, says the Zohar HaKadosh in Pashas Lech Lecha, Ayin Tes Amud Aleph, ask that question. Why did Avraham take him? He was a klippa. He was not a good person. Even though we have our question and it's not, you know, definitive, but this is what the Gemara says, this is what the Midrash says. He saw that he was carrying in him the neshama of David HaMelech. You have the neshama, and Avraham Avinu had to keep an eye on this neshama. So why do you let him go? If you brought him in just because you know he's a bad person, Avraham Avinu, you're a saint, and you were able to read into him, but he had the neshama of David HaMelech. In that case, don't let him go. Put this on hold. The Midrash here, Midrash Rabbah, tremendous. So when you have time, you read this Parshas Nun Aleph, you know, from Ches, Tes, Yud, Yud Aleph. You will come to another world. So the Midrash there, I believe it's in Ches here, this one, Nun Aleph Ches. So you can see in the words, the way the Midrash says it, that he had, when they say what he means, Unechaye me'avinu zara, we should have a descendants from him. When did they say a boy? I mean, you know, actually, there's a Midrash that says, the changes why it says, Vatishka besaviha, she wanted to do what it says in Parshas Tazria, for her to have a boy and her sister to have a girl. So they would mate them, and then it would keep on. They would have a boy and a girl. That was the plan. But here says, Zara learns the Midrash that Lot had in him the neshama of Amelech HaMashiach. different than the Zer. Yes, David HaMelech is the father of the Mashiach. But if I have time, I would explain you the difference in this and how is the neshama of the Mashiach being formed. But the Midrash, we see, I mean, they're concurring here. Lloyd, so I'm asking myself a question. Avraham Avinu, the tzaddik, doesn't deserve to be the father, to be the nest for the neshama of Mashiach. But Lloyd, the Rasha, as you describe it till here, he has David HaMelech, and he has, because Ruth Moaviyah will come through Moav, the oldest, and Nama, the one who's going to marry Shlomo HaMelech, the mother of Rechovam, the grandson of David HaMelech, you're going to see at the end why I mentioned these words, came from Nama, from Ammon. We saw these things go, it's counterintuitive. The one that had chutzpah, the one that was extremely harsh, is the oldest. I will sleep my father. My son is Moav, mean of. I'm claiming to the world. My son came from my father. She will have Rus. At least give her Nama. The biggest one is, the second one was more mellow and very polite. Ammon, mean Ami, from the one who was with me. So she did not have chutzpah. Bnei Yisrael cannot take chutzpah. A big neshama cannot take chutzpah. What is Ruth doing in Moav? Should have been in the, she's the grandmother of David HaMelech, I mean, 7th generation. But I'm calling her the grandmother of David HaMelech. All Malchus Yisrael, and the Mashiach is gonna come out of this. Please explain me, how is it possible that the biggest event in the world since Ma'aseh Bereshis will be through Shmutz? Hashem had no other ways to, we thought the Mashiach is going to be from a tzaddik. No, it came from a Gioiris. That's a good lesson today for us, the Jews, to understand that Gerim are very dear to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's a big mitzvah to be Mesameach the Ger. Tremendous mitzvah. This mitzvah can protect us and protect a lot of our brothers and sisters that are in harm's way right now. So going back here, so nothing makes sense. The Talmud of the Ari HaKadosh, the Galia Raza, brings that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had a taina on Yaakov when he made an alliance with Lavan. Why? You know, after they finished eating, they made this mount of stones that were exactly when Bilam came and his donkey went hitting that, it says the wall of the mount. Because from Yaakov Avinu until Bilam, the both sides respected the alliance. No one crossed that threshold, that frontier, to go harm the other. The first one was Bilam. And therefore the Asain rubbed the stone to tell him, watch out. This is this alliance. You're going to breach the alliance. Now all hell are going to be loose on you. Anyway, so on this alliance, HaKadosh Baruch Hu had a time on him. Why? Because he didn't learn from Avraham Avinu. Why didn't he learn from Avraham Avinu? He explains, Hashem told him you should have learned from your grandfather. When Lot started behaving interestingly, what did he do, Avraham? He told him, he parried now, please leave me. Lavan, the only reason he wanted an alliance with you, Yaakov, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because when the tumah is completely separated from the Kedusha, It's like a tree which you removed from the ground, cannot live. It will die. It will dry out, it will die. Every bria, every creature needs a sparkle of light, a sparkle of Kedusha in order to be able to live. And Lavan, knowing that Yaakov was leaving him, actually in the Midrash it says why he pursued him and everything, because he knew the bracha left him. Yeah, Lavan was poor. Was poor when Yaakov arrived. When Yaakov left, he was extremely rich. And Yaakov brought the bracha. So he wanted, by doing an alliance with Yaakov, he had still a connection. And that's how he thought of using to get the bracha. However, when Lot was so rich and everything, Avraham, just said, enough is enough. Get out of here. And Yaakov should have learned from it. Okay, great shot. I love it. Now we're gonna sum everything up into a very simple or in a couple of sentences, and we're gonna put everything aside, destroy everything we have heard, all the pshatim from everyone. Nothing makes sense. Let's go back a little bit, just with history. I'm not going to try to get you too deep. I'm just going to try to show you, because there's enough in the history itself to prove the point. And if we need to go down, we can go down. Right before the destruction of Sodom, what was the last occurrence? 3 people are coming to Sodom in twilight. Lot is sitting b'shar Sodom. He's sitting at the gate of Sodom. What is a rich man doing at that time? Instead of having dinner, instead of enjoying his house with his servants, and what is he doing in Sha'ar Sodom? He sees them. Lot is not that bad. Lot is a man that was feeding for others. How else would he have daughters like this? How did he educate his daughters not to fall, to sustain everything, all the schmutz they were seeing in Sodom? How is it possible? In contrary, he looks like a tzaddik. He sits at the gates of Sodom to see the passers. He couldn't do it during the day, because he's scared of the guys. So at night he would give them and feed the passerbys and everything. He sees 3 people entering Sodom. He says, "Please come to my house." They didn't want. He insisted a lot. Says the Midrash, he took them by the hand and he forced them into his house. The people of Sodom come, he protects his guest. He does achnasas orchim with mesiras nefesh. The Midrash says he remembered the house of Avraham that was always open, and he says, I have to do it. He did it with mesiras nefesh. Really, a Rasha is capable of doing a mitzvah at that level? On the other hand, we cannot deny the fact that there seems to be some darkness. Nobody gives his daughters away to protect, his guests. The guy is nuts. So what's going on? But at least we see The only light I want to shine here is it's extremely hard and harsh on Lot to try to paint him into a Merusha. We saw the mitzvah that he's done. The Torah explained it. The Torah itself testifies that he was moser nefesh for this mitzvah. How can you tell me that this person is a Rasha Merusha, the way the Midrash paints him, the way the Galia Raza, the everybody? The Zohar says, again, there's a section called Sisre Torah. There's a Midrash Elam. There's a lot of sections. There's a Tosefta, Raya Mehemna, Hechalas, the different section. In the section of Sisre Torah, the secrets of the Torah. The Zohar says, after everything we said, Ve'eslois ben Achim, who is Lot, his nephew, Da Nachash. This is the serpent. Sorry. The serpent. We just showed that this guy was capable of doing a mitzvah, even though it might cost him his life. How do you call him? You can call him, he's not like before, he's a Rasha. Now we're going the other side, he's going deeper and deeper into Lot. Not only he's a Rasha Merusha, he's completely the serpent. He is like the nefesh. There are two souls in the person. One very close to the body, and one, on the other hand, closer to the ruach, and the neshama. And so the nefesh of a person is divided in two. Put it that way. If I put my hand against my other hand, this side of the hand is closer to the right hand. So this side is further out. So if this is Kedusha, it's closer to the Kedusha, further out. But if Chas v'Shalom, this is not Kedusha, so it's connected. So the part of the nefesh that's connected to the guf is always trying to talk or try to convince the other part of the nefesh that's connected to the ruach and the neshama to try to sin. Because unless these two gets together and agree, it's impossible to sin. So Lot, according to the Zohar, already had passed that stage. His two nefesh, the two sides of his soul came together and agreed to sin. Even though we have no evidence so far. All the proofs of the Gemara, we destroyed them. The proofs of the Midrash, we destroyed them. And in contrary, we brought a proof from the mitzvah of Achnasa Sarkim. But the Zohar comes like this. Bingo statement. This time, no proof. Okay. If Avraham is a Kedusha and Lot was with him, automatically we're going to have an indication. If you take Avraham and you add to Avraham Lot, you're getting a number. The number is 288. 288 is the most known number in Kabbalah. It's called the Rapach. When the beginning of the world, for some events, there was a destruction of the upper world. And 288 sparkles of Kedusha came down. Since the world is world, the work that we do in this world is only to bring it up, to bring them up. The Talmud of the Ari HaKadosh, Reb Chaim Vital, writes in the Etz Chaim that the Akdama, that the Ari HaKadosh had done all the tikkun of the Rapach. Moshe Rabbeinu wanted it to do it also. That's why he took out the Erev Rav. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, Rav Lach, it's enough for you. Rav, so at the Ari HaKadosh that you could only do up to 202. The other 86, the last gematria of Elohim, the Bnei Israel will have to do for the other generations. So this concept of having Kedusha that fell to this world, and our job is to bring it up back to its place to the upper world, that's what is the mission of the Bnei Israel in this world. And this is equal also to a very fundamental need of the world. It's tal and matar. Tal u'matar livracha. The world cannot live without dew or without rain. You don't have a world, you have a desert. You can only have a world with human beings, with animals, with, as we know, the Bria, if we have dew and we have rain. Talu matar equals 288. To explain the person, how do we get the rain and the dew? The rain and the dew are the counter effect of when Bnei Israel do the avodah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends the bracha as a form of dew and a form of rain. That's why the rain, we call them gishmei bracha. The rain of bracha. When they come down slowly, we know through this rain, their bracha is coming down. Enough with this, but we see here indeed that there had to be a connection between Avraham and Lot in order to be able to perfect the world and correct, you know, they were able to do it, but Lot was not at the level. Okay, he was not perfect. We understand he was not perfect, but he was not completely bad neither, and far from that. You know, a person is facing on a daily basis questions about himself, about what he's doing. And these are the hardest questions he has to answer, which is most people are incapable of answering. You remember the example I gave you with my hands. So let's say now you have the Kedusha on my right hand, and I'm coming and touching it like this. This part automatically became Kaddish. No matter what my left hand represents, even if he was Chaz v'Shalom from the other side, the fact it touches the Kedusha, it's Metah. It's Kaddish. But the other side, when a person elevates himself, when a person gets closer to Hashem, so he gets out on the bris, there are 3 skins. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 4 skins. The big skins are easy to cut. You know what it is. There's a very tiny film that we do the priya. We call it noiga. It's the shining. Why? Because it's transparent and you can see the Kedusha coming through it. He pretends it's a Ola. He pretends to be Kaddish, but it's not. However, this person is dancing one day on the right foot, the next day on the left foot. Why? Because on one side, he's touching the Ola to the left, and on the right side, he's touching the bris to the right. So he's not completely Kaddish, and he's not completely Russia. This is the most dangerous person, And this is the most dangerous area to be in. Because that person will won't know himself who he is. The Baal Shem says, touches the pasuk in the Aseret Adibros, Lo yisase lecha pesel, lo yisase lecha pesel. Don't make for yourself a statue, Avodah Zarah. We understand from the beginning the continuation of the. What do you mean, make for yourself? And if it's not for yourself, you just make it. Are you allowed to? No, you're not. So what he means, he explained, be always extremely careful that you don't find yourself, pat yourself in the back. I'm great, I'm good, I'm this, I'm perfect, and so forth. Because you're making yourself Avodah Zarah, and you will be chayav as a Avodah Zarah worshiper, as if you worship idols. That's the pshat of this passage. Lot was definitely in a very close area over there, because on one hand, he's capable of putting his life on the line in order to be doing the mitzvah of Achnasaserchim. On the other hand, he's capable of deciding to, let's say, even. You didn't know, you thought that the plain of the Jordan were just lush. You come then, you see the shmutz of Zdon. Go back. Find yourself another place. Who told you to camp there? Don't open your stuff. On the first day, you knew what was going on. So what are you doing? So you see that somehow behind the nice words that we said about him, the actions show something else. What would you stay there, Lord? Because you want to be like them. So maybe at the beginning, okay. So now let's go back to the Gemara. The Gemara says, Vayisa, he raised his eyes. It's a pity last week I didn't have spoke a lot on Shabbos, but we never got to the pshat of the Pituch Choisam. The eyes, you have to understand, there's a din in Shamayim. Even the Satan cannot do what he wants. But once someone starts raising his eyes and looks at something with envy, automatically the din in Shamayim you call the Satan. He's right there. When you pass by your friend's property, you're not allowed to look, especially a field. If the field has the trees bear fruits, or it has wheat or anything growing, it's usher to look. Why? Because even though you think you don't envy, you can control yourself, you may have a hunch of envy, and automatically this is considered ayin hara. So right away, they're going to open the book of your friend, like, oh, it's not so perfect. Let's go for the din. Boom. A flood, all his fruit going to be destroyed, or his harvest, or whatever it is. And that's what he says here. But the pasuk is not learning from the fact he raised his eyes, because we saw that from Avraham, Vayisa Avraham. No, is Vayisa Loit. The pasuk says these two words only. What are you telling me, Vayisa Loit? Only in Vayisa Loit you can see Ba Satan. 362 Ba Satan. Right away he brought the Satan. He took him. Who was his partner going there? Was the Satan? Then the question is on Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu, this guy was not great. This guy has a tendency to not be there all the time. Put it that way. As soon as he gets a little wind, he flies like a higher than a bird, you know, like, oh, that's it. He has an envy, that's it, he's gone. Cannot control himself. How dare you throw him out? How can you tell him he parried no? You putting his life in danger. Who gave you the right? This is not less than taking a sword and killing him. But that's worse. Why? Because here he's losing the Olam Hazeh and the Olam Haba. If you kill him with a sword, you only took him away from Olam Hazeh, but he has his Olam Haba. Avraham Avinu, the gentler person that was created from the beginning of the world till the end of the world. How did you push him with two hands to fall off the cliff? You knew there was a tremendous cliff here. From here, you learn in today's time. I would like to show it to you because I really want you to understand that. Because it's so fundamental today. Avraham Avinu said, he parayed na me'olai. No, this equals 490. This equals the sum in full and nachash. When you push away someone, no matter who it is, automatically you push him off the cliff. You tell someone, get out of my house, you don't realize you call the Satan and the Nachash upon him. What does it mean? It means la kamsa or bar kamsa. When you tell someone, when he invited him by mistake or he misunderstood the invitation, because of this, the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. The Sam and the Nachash came down. That's a din. Because this guy will want to revenge. And they'll be very happy to provide him all the tools to have revenge. Now you understand from this, when a yeshiva, when a school, you have a little bit of a troublemaker, to whatever extent you can call a kid a troublemaker, so I'm still excited. They're not settled. They're kids, you know. They can't stand this today. Everybody has to be made in a mold. You want to throw him out? It's a Issa D'Oraisa. I can guarantee you today, with everything, and I don't want to use words, that anyone that has thrown out a kids from a yeshiva or a school will never see Olam Haba forever. Ever. I want to tell you a story that happened in Lakewood Yeshiva when I was there as a bacher. They came to Reb Shneur Kotler, that's all, my Rosh Yeshiva. They told him, we need to throw a bacher out. Lakewood is not so easy on throwing out bachering. Very, very harsh. Very, very hard. And first they find him another place, so he shouldn't remain in the street. And that makes a lot of sense. It only happened 3 times. So this guy, fortunately, was not coming to Beis Midrash. He was already an older bacher. You know, he was a man, good looking, very good looking guy. And he went down the road of the temptations, but he needed a place where to stay. So he had his room in the yeshiva. That's his connection to the yeshiva was. He was coming to davening, you know, I think he was eating with everybody. The Anhala came, the direction that we need to throw him out and everything. But Shneur Kotler Datzal was a very, very gentle person. The feeling like Avraham Avinu, the same type of goodness. If you never seen him, you don't understand the level of goodness, what he is. all the stories about him, it's always about goodness. The goodness to a point that cannot be described, and words don't make justice. But you understand. He had one answer. If he's doing this while being in the walls of the yeshiva, what do you expect him to do if you put him out? You wanted to have this on your back? Everybody was quiet. You know something? The guy, when the story was repeated and he heard that, he changed. If you accept me and everything means you love me, then I'll come toward you. Guys, normal guys, a grandfather now with children in Koil, grandchildren in learning and everything. Look at the difference. Someone who throws a kid out of a school, a Jewish school, the walls of a school, leave him out in the street, you know, find yourself another place, we're not here for you, or give them these pills to be, this person is just at the level, is much worse than what Hamas did on October 7th. They took the lives of these Yidden, but they got the kapara, they got a tikkun. Go explain. They are next to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a place that even Malachim cannot go up. And you push him, off the cliff that is going to have not this world and not next world. I have, fortunately, everything is lost in knowledge in this generation. These people, let me tell you, and I know it's not good politics to have this on a recorded share, but I will tell you what is done with them at the end. They are given to the other side when they leave this world, and they're becoming, they lost every Jewishness in them. Forget about being, they suffer for sure, they suffer terribly, but they're becoming bad evils. They're basically becoming part of the Yetzer Hara, and when he's gonna be put to death, Shalom al Israel from these guys. This is the suicide. People that feel self-righteous about the school keeping in standard, has to be Jewish, it has to be this, and you know nothing. Have you learned the Zohar once to understand the philosophy of a Jew? Have you learned the Ari HaKodesh, all his Farim once? Have you learned the Emek HaMelech, the Talmud, all the Talmidim of the Ari HaKodesh before we even talk? And the more you learn this, the more you know nothing about the Asher. And you people became, we don't have anymore the Sanhedrin. We don't have anymore, you're not a dime. You decided that he is Chayav Misa, but you're going to put him to death on both worlds. Well, I don't want to know what happens to you afterward because that's not my thing and I'm not avenging. But I want to tell you, he parried now. So this is the question we have on Avraham Avinu. Our dear forefather, how is it possible that you knew everything and you knew that he has the neshama of David HaMelech inside him? How did you push him off the cliff? You know he's going to fall. I'm going to abbreviate because I'm not even at half the first year. So sorry that I got carried away on this thing, but it's something that hurts me a lot. And Reb Chaim Vital wrote in his Akdama on Etz Chaim about this, the way, the virulence of his words. He was also very gentle. But every time when he writes, he's extremely gentle in his language. But on this, I can tell you, it's sparkles of fire that would burn a person from an inside out. It's not a regular fire. This is a fire that decimates. The way he says it, how he calls them, you have to see. What I said is nothing compared to what he said. So I can tell you, here the main question we have to answer, just to because I see now I'm exaggerating again. Where they decided that Lloyd, sorry, again, I'm making a mistake. Share. Let's go into it. I'm going to go a bit naughty here, but we're going to understand. So we here, he added a few words in that pasuk. Lloyd says, Vayisa Lloyd. So the Vayisa Lloyd is what gave us, really his intention. This one gave him out. Eseinov, his eyes, so the Sultan could come in. Vayara is called Kikar Yarden. And you see the Kikar of the Jordan. What do you expect? You have the Jordan River, a huge river there. You expect to be desert when you have a Jordan River? You put any river in the desert and it will flourish. What it means, Kichula Mashke. No, she's totally water. Mashke is a drink. Honestly, this language is a bit difficult. And I believe this is where the two were the beginning, Vaisalite, and this that gave out a lot. This gives us a number 530, and which is the exact same number as Sitra, Achara, and Tami. What attracted him, said the Gemara? What they were doing. Who was living there in Sodom? It was the nest of the Sitra Achra. And this is, I could say Sitra Achra or Lili. It's the same number, 480. Plus Tami equals exactly the same number, 530. And this is what the pasuk hints in the inside. On the outside, he still looked from. He still had this, but inside he was rotten. There's nothing you can do with him anymore. He was really rotten in the inside. Wow, so Avraham Avinu, even more so, how did you push him away? Rashi says, he told Lot, I'm only 4 mil from you. He took it from the Midrash. I'm only 4 kilometers, 3 miles, not even 3 miles away from you. If you need anything, please let me know. I will be there to help you. In other words, Avraham Avinu never severed his relation or his friendship or his familyship, whatever connection he had with Lot. In contrary, he kept it flowing. And he said, he worried, don't go too far. I want to remain within 4 mil, because 4 mil, it's the eruv of each one on Shabbos, so we can meet. So it's still connected. So since we still have a connection, I don't let you fall off the cliff. When a tzaddik has a connection with a Rasha, as the story I told you about Reb Shneor Kotler Zatzal, the person comes back. So Avraham thought he would come back that way. He's going to feel what it is to be a little bit away from me. But since I told him I want to stay with him, in case he gets better, he's going to come back. And Avraham Avinu wanted to see, I want to give you the last part on a thing. You remember in part, oh no, I didn't give you the share. In Parshas V'Zos HaBracha, all the neshamas, what was the tremendous chet of Adam Arisha? That he didn't listen to Hashem. Why are we listening to Hashem every day? That he sinned right away? Yeah, find it. That's not the sin. The sin is that all the neshamas, you, I, the next one, every neshama that came down onto this world as a Jew was included in Adam HaRishon. Adam HaRishon included all Bnei Israel beside him. You understand the level of the Chet. He made every neshama. So when Adam, the Zohar says, when Chava came with the fruit, he asked everybody inside him, all the neshamas, do you agree to have the fruit? They all agree. Therefore, we all deserve, it's not because of Adam that we go through what we go through. It's because of our decision. And Moshe Rabbeinu did not have any benefit from it. He refused. Where was Moshe Rabbeinu? At the end of the day, the body, the nutrients go in the blood and they go everywhere in the body. Says the Zohar, Moshe Rabbeinu was attached to the trachea, and there it's every cartilage almost has no blood there. This is where Moshe. So he never partaken with the Chet, and that's why he was able to go in Shamayim above Malachim. But all of us accepted to do this. And this made, because Loit equals Adam. Aleph, Dalet, Mem. Adam, David, Mashiach. Adam, Aleph. So for the name Adam. Mem. Aleph, Dalet for David, Mem for Mashiach. He had all this. Him also, he had to be extremely careful because he could have been the father of the Mashiach, but the right way. But since his inside was rotten, he didn't deserve to have it the right way. So now, when Adam HaRishon sinned, all these neshamas were taken hostage by the bad side. So instead of Bnei Israel being with the Shekhinah, for many generations until Mitzrayim, they were taken hostage and they were released only through hardship, the hardship of Mitzrayim. And still, it was not enough Mitzrayim. We needed 4 more galus until we're going to pay back for that chet. Look how hard. So when a big neshama is trapped, the Sitra Achra doesn't want to release it. He says, because this guy is going to do good. He's going to be a tzaddik. And tzaddik is going to destroy me. I cannot afford that. And therefore, he prevents it from coming to this world. However, whenever there is a big chet, the Sitra Achra has fun and put the neshama of a tzaddik inside in order for him to be soiled and never reach his potential. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu did put wine in the me'ara. It came from Shamayim. The Midrash says, not the Zohar, the Midrash says HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the wine. Gave the wine in the me'ara. So something like this would happen. And therefore, because they had good intentions, and it will take still a few shirim to explain a bit deeper, but since they had good intention and he was the rotten, so that was an opportunity to take it out. Why? Because at that time, a man was not forbidden to go with his daughter. It's going to take a whole share. I'm telling you, I just don't want to touch this because we're going to be going for another 3 hours. So anyway, so the other side, the Nachash side, when they saw an incestuous act, they decided this is the worst. We're going to take Mashiach, boop, inside one, and boop, inside the second. Why they call Habechira and Hatzeira? Because equals 622. Ish, ish. Each one is going to take one person. One is going to take David. One is going to take the Mashiach. The two ish that were in Lot. That's what the Torah is hinting us here. 622 is 2 times 311, ish. And there were two neshamas inside Lot, David and Mashiach. David is going to go through Ruth. Mashiach is going to go through Naama, and she's going to marry Shlomo, and they're going to have Rehoboam, and Malchut David. Boom, Mashiach comes from it. This is how. This is from Moshe Cordovero. This is the Ramak, how he explains. And now we understand. We have a better synopsis about what happened. Who is Lot? Why we bash him on the thing? So when it comes up to the inside, automatically is all black. Yes, if you look on the outside, is all. Oh, he did a tremendous mitzvah. Says it's the Arachama. It's not the Ramak. It's the Rabbi Avraham Azulai. I think it's Rabbi Avraham Azulai. Say no. The Al-Shich HaKadosh and the Be'er Maim Chai. The neshama of David HaMelech that was in him woke up and gave him a tremendous urge to do that mitzvah. Why? Because he did the same mitzvah that Avraham Avinu was doing, he recreated the kesher. So now the Geula could come through Avraham Avinu to save Lot. And I will give you one proof and finish on this. Avraham Avinu counts to Hashem when he prays for Sodom, he counts by dozens. Only one number is not in the dozens. Which number? 45. 45 equals Lot. That's the only number he gets out of dozens. He goes from 50 to 45, 45 to 30, 30 to 20, 20 to 10. There's no other 5s. And interestingly, the only 45 is going to is a gematria Lot, is Adam. At the end of time, says the Shlach Kodesh, Lot will have his tikkun. Only at the end of time. Sodom v'Amorah will come back, will be rebuilt. How is it possible? Food for thoughts. See you on Shabbos. Have a great Shabbos, everyone. Have a good evening. Call to be well.
Shkoya, gorgeous.
Goodbye.